What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Another episode of Propping Up on the Go Boys Network, brought to you by Pickett and Boom Fantasy. Here to talk some hockey. GriffyBets, joined by Walla here. Thank you for joining us. Hope your week's been going well. How have things been going with you, Walla?
Pretty good. Um, been some nice games again. Really entertaining series. And been having some pretty decent luck for the most part. Had like one bad night, lost four plays by a shot. So yeah, that sucks. But that variance happens when you're betting on shot props. So uh, stuck with it last night and had a pretty good night. So gonna keep it rolling.
For sure. Yeah, last night was definitely the best night of the playoffs I've had yet. Uh, those straights and two leggers treated me pretty well. Me and AO and Gold Boys hit a nice three-leg goal parlay of Aho, Sagan, and Drysidle. Drysidle's just looks like a man possessed out there. Guy's been awesome. So that was nice. Haven't hit a parlay in far too long. And honestly, maybe just as we get people trickling in here, this has nothing to do with betting. I've been so last couple of weeks have been just madness. I was down at my parents, down at a bachelor party, had a bridal shower this past weekend. I finally got back to my house and I can just sit down and watch these hockey games. I've been since Easter, I've been in my house like three nights. So last couple nights, it's just been nice to actually relax and watch these games and get a little bit better feel for things because it's been a lot of go going. So I've been enjoying that. I got about 7 more days before all the madness starts up again. So I'm gonna enjoy this next week, just watching all these games. Because last night was awesome. Those games were all great. Um, I did put in a future on Dallas to win the Stanley Cup this morning after watching them last night. I just, I don't know. I feel like they look really good on offense. Ottinger's been great, and Colorado's kind of seeming like a shell of themselves a little bit. And that's who they most likely play next round, unless Seattle wins, which even better. I think Stars Oilers could be a hell of a Western Conference final if it gets there. But plus 1400, I took a flyer out of the West. They needed somebody out there. So, yeah, I think they look pretty good.
Yeah. Sagan's
Unreal.
just leading the way for them. I mean, they're not leading the way, but he's stepping up in a big way. That was, it's rounding everything out. You got Robertson, who still, had a good game. Um, but when Pavelski went down, obviously that was a little rough. So just seeing him just kind of seamlessly just boom right up there and more than just fit in, just really step up. If he continues that play, that's that'll be really fun to watch, and that's just really great for them. You could see it out there.
Yeah, he's been awesome. All right, let's jump into tonight's games. Unless we go so deep into this that it's 148 by the time we finish the Avalanche Kraken game, we'll probably talk about tomorrow's games a little bit too. So there's only two tonight, which is fine by me. Um, Florida Boston is first. Bruins are up 3-1. Sounds like they're getting Bergeron back tonight. I certainly expect them to find a couple goals here and probably close out this series. But prop wise, seems like a good one for Boston shots or points. Some of these points prop prices are awesome. But I do think you probably look at a couple Florida guys as well, even though their volume definitely has not been as high in these two games in Boston. But what are you seeing in this one?
Well, I think I guess I'm looking at this game kind of assuming Bergeron's going to be in. I know it said game time decision, so you have to just keep that in mind. But I think he's out there. He was practicing, right, warming up and or going through everything. So they
Yeah.
have some lines out and they're looking pretty good if that's what's going to be with him, Pasta and Bertuzzi on a line together. And I've seen all of those guys up on the top power play. I mean, that should be really good for everybody involved. Bergeron looks great. I think Bertuzzi's already been rolling with points. He's got a point in what 8 straight games now. And in this series, he's had 6 points. He's been scoring, involved on the power play. So yeah, if Bergeron's coming back and Bertuzzi's still top line and still on that power play, I think his even at minus like 135, his point looks awesome. Um, yeah, I'll probably end up putting some on his power play point. At plus 280, he has one in 3 out of 4, both games at home. And again, just having Bergeron up on that top power play is only, a plus, and you still got Marchand on that power play too, even though he's on the different line on even strength. So I love that look. If that's the line that they're going with, I'll probably put some on him to get a power play point.
Yeah, he's been awesome this series. I definitely I liked his shots last night when I was poking through, but with Bergeron, expected on that line too with Pasa, just some high profile or high volume guys to be skating with. So I would prefer looking to his point over his shots, but he has hit his shots also. He's been awesome this series. I did bet him in game 3, the one game he had one shot, sandwiched between a 3 and a 5 shot game, and he's got a goal in 2 of his last 3 as well. But man, I'm surprised his point is still so reasonably priced.
Yeah, and good call out in chat from Adam talking about Taylor Hall point. Uh,
Yeah.
he's got he's got the 7 points last 3, um, plus 120. I mean, that's a great price. Assuming that production keeps up. So he's been rolling. I mean, 4 point game. So seeing him at plus 120 uh, looks really good. Just yeah, Bergeron's coming back. Just as long as the lines aren't changing too much, and some of these guys are in the similar spots, it's good prices on these points.
Yeah, Hall still looks good. Uh, I thought Jake DeBrusk for a point looked pretty solid at minus 125. He's got 4 in his last 2, 5 in the series, and some nice games against Florida this year before the playoffs. I would be right there doing us a favor. I was going to say be careful on Zaka point because he was, I mean, Bergeron sort of taking his spot on that line, but he doesn't even have a points line offered. So they're not even trying to trick people. How kind of them. I mean, I even think Marchand point looks solid. Again, you'd have to put it in a parlay, but guy's got a point in every game this series, uh, and 11 in his last 9 against Florida. There's a lot to like here. I mean,
I think it was plus 110 if you wanted to on bet 365 just run a Marchand same game parlay, which would have hit each game his shots and a point. It's at plus 110 still. I was looking at that a little bit. Just he's been awesome. I don't know how Bergeron coming back will change much. If Marchand's on that second line without them, him and Pasta anyway, you'd think that he would still be shooting on that line. So uh, I like him. I like him for a look, and then the point still looks good to me because if they get on the power play, he'll be right up, up there with the big guys anyway. So he's looking good. I liked that. If you wanted to just pair them together, fair price there, plus 110.
definitely. I did Marchand's points or his shots paired with McKinnon's shots in the next game, which came in at plus 160 on DraftKings. I also did Marchand to score at plus 190. Just seemed like a price I couldn't pass up. He's got a goal in 3 of 4 this series, and I was looking back on his postseason history in Boston. Guy's got a goal in 7 straight home playoff games and 11 of his last 14. So I put a half unit on him to score also.
Yeah,
I like the line that he's on, Bergeron coming back doesn't seem to really. I don't think it's going to affect him very much. He certainly will likely have the offensive burden on that line, so I like him to keep it rolling here.
Yeah. So it's another person in chat talking. We got them talking about Orlov, who's on a point streak and an assist streak. It's just really, yeah, Boston. I mean, these games, there's been a lot of goals. So there's a lot of people who've been involved. Orlov has an assist in each game this series, plus 154 for an assist. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, it makes you kind of like, yeah, maybe you just look on Boston to score goals if you don't want to try to pick a person, or you could just take the over in the game, just because there are so many looks that they do really look solid here. So that could be another way to go about it if you don't want to have to try to narrow down a guy for props or anything.
Yeah, I thought Orlov point looked pretty solid last night also. But to me, Bergeron's my favorite look here. I grabbed his point at minus 103. I mean, skating with Bertuzzi Pasta, that just seems like a line that's going to find some success. He's got 8 points the last 3 times Florida's come to town. And he has 15 points in his last 14 home playoff games. I know we're both on his shots. We'll bring it back up at the end of the show maybe, but last year in the playoffs, Bergeron went over 4 in all 7 games. He's got over 4 in 3 straight against Florida. So to have an over 2.5 line at minus 135, I certainly drank the juice there. If he's back, he's ready to play, and that place is going to be buzzing with him back on the ice. So I kind of like the fresh legs too, coming in game 5 and not holding anything back. So I'm all in on Bergeron tonight.
Yeah, that's how I was viewing it too. Yeah, I'm assuming he's in, he's good. He's just that 2.5 line, even at minus 135. It's just it's a good price for that line for him. So he had a really good home hit rate this season. I think it was 73. And like you said, he had 4 plus in each game in the playoffs. I mean, last postseason, that was one of the best bets there was just riding his shots. I remember, probably when the playoffs started, it was plus money, I want to say, like maybe like plus 110. Let's say it started there for over 3.5 shots. By the end of that streak, it was like minus 150 or something like that. And he just kept crushing that 3.5 line. So if he's in 2.5 at minus 135, it's a good matchup for it. And especially the location at home in the playoffs. It just looks really good.
Yeah, I thought we'd get a better price on the 4 plus on FanDuel, given where DraftKings opened this up, but they're giving us 4 plus at plus 114. And with that 60-minute line tacked onto it, I don't think that's worth it. I think the over 2.5 on DraftKings is the better way to play it. Everything checks off him looking good for 4 shots, but I don't know, that price just compared to what we could get for 1 less and including overtime just in case, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the overtime thing is such a big kicker now on those lines, because I mean, there's been a lot of overtime this postseason already. So sometimes it's just better off trying to just get that line where you couldn't have that chance if it goes there.
On the Florida end, we should talk about them a little bit. I guess my personal approach when things return to game 5, I do tend to put a decent amount of weight in what happened in games 1 and 2 in the location. So, I mean, Florida as a team got 32 and 30 shots off in those 2 games in Boston. So certainly less than their usual volume, but somebody is probably going to get involved here, especially, down 3-1. I expect them to be ripping their low quality, high quantity type approach that we used to see so often. So I just couldn't find anyone reliable enough. I thought Sam Bennett's shots probably looked the best. They're very juiced, but
he missed practice.
Oh, wonderful.
Actually, Adam just brought that up in chat too. That got to keep an eye on him.
Well, that's a
looking at.
bummer. He's hit in all 3 games he's played this series, and he had 7 in the last time he was in Boston. So that's a
His
bummer.
point would look good too. It doesn't even he's been getting points surprisingly. But yeah, if he's got to keep an eye on that. Make sure he's good to go.
The only other thing I felt comfortable with, I can't imagine the watering down Brandon Montour shots to 2 in a parlay. It's minus 670. Forget it. That was by far the most reliable trend I was seeing out of the Florida end. Gross. I'm gonna sit off. I'm gonna sit out their shots. I thought that would be a little better.
Yeah, you see some guys who are hitting their shots last couple of games, but that's at home. Kachuk, Barkov, um, maybe one of them can carry that momentum, but yeah, I don't want to go for it when it's if there's a little bit of juice on it. So minus 130 for Kachuk and minus 145 for Barkov, and they both missed in Boston. So yeah, I feel more comfortable looking on the Boston side.
So I do, I don't hate the over in this game. Our buddy Tones takes on Twitter. He put out a trend yesterday I found really interesting that so it didn't work out for him last night with the Islanders game, but last year every non-game 7 elimination game went over. I found that to be a really interesting trend. And so that fits the bill here tonight. Maybe the Islanders Canes last night um, cancels out that trend a little bit, but I do think some goals look good, and I think that would apply to Florida. I I don't hate Kachuk goal here. He's got 2 this series. Scored last game, and this little tussle, whatever he had with Olmark last game, kind of makes me think maybe he's going to be motivated to try and get one past him tonight. So if anyone on Florida for the goal, I'm liking Kachuk.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just good. I'm sticking with the Bergeron shots. I'm just gonna double check these lines, make sure everything's make sure everything lines up how I'm thinking, and I'm gonna be looking at Bertuzzi on that power play. I don't know. There's so many opportunities. Um, and that's such a good power play. Those guys, I like them all for points as is. So Bergeron, Marchand, Bertuzzi. So yeah, that I think that's going to be the key for me.
Yeah, seems like a solid plan. And if you don't like player props, I would say maybe Bruins over 3.5 goals. I think if you exclude overtime, it's around minus 130, minus 125, which is a fine price. But I do think they win tonight also. Put this series away, especially with Bergeron back. I just think that place is going to be buzzing.
Yeah,
All right, let's hop over to the late game, Seattle, Colorado. This series is tied, um, which is a slight surprise to me if someone told me that before the series began. But Seattle's looked very feisty. They keep scoring first. Last game they put up 43 shots, which is crazy. But I guess high level. So Kale McCarr is suspended for tonight. He's out. The Chuskin's out. It sounds like he's not coming back, at least this series. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Definitely just another batch of tough losses for Colorado. I still think they can get it done at home here, and just makes me like McKinnon and Rantanen that much more to step up here as the 2 main guys in what I consider to be a must-win game. Kind of, I mean, got to win this game 5 at home. So I like looking at them. As I mentioned before, I did Marchand shots with McKinnon, who has, I think he had 7 and 8 shots in the first 2 games. Yeah, at home.
and
Especially coming off
everybody's
as
going to be hurting though. Talking about McKinnon, I mean, it's going to be sitting in their minds. He just had 0 shots on goal. That
That makes me
yeah.
even more excited.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that you just cast him away. That was just the first time this season that's happened. Uh, and after he'd been rolling for a bit, so I think everybody's probably hurting from that a little bit. But I wouldn't just think that you can't look at him again. Uh,
No, I his home volume has been absolutely absurd lately. Last 2 years in the playoffs, over 4.5 at 9 to 12 at home. I love that he got zero. I mean, I didn't bet him, so I feel it's a little easier for me to love seeing that. Some people probably have PTSD, but guy's too good to to get shut down 2 games in a row, especially in such a pivotal game. I like him to score too.
yeah, yeah. I know he's been hitting the shots a lot. I just think after a zero shot on goal game, uh, just the neck, if he's gonna come back with a bunch of shots on goal, I think I see one going in. Uh,
Yeah.
after a performance like that, I just feels like he's gonna come out and not mess around right now.
No, and he only has 2 goals this series, both came in the same game. I mean, guy's just too good to be this quiet. I have to imagine, especially now with McCarr out too, the burden's just going to fall even heavier on his shoulders. So, yeah, I like him scoring. I think Rantanen goal. Guy's got 4 goals in his last 2 games, 5 in this series. Uh, Another one who looks pretty darn good scoring too.
Yeah, I think this game has some good opportunities. I know we're on a few or a couple similar plays, like a few of the same things. Um, let's stick on the Colorado side and talk about a name that probably there's probably going to be some people who are going to be like, who are you talking about, just because it's not a big name, but Byram on Colorado. Uh, yeah, I know you're on his shots. I played it too. Actually, it's a risky one when you look at his overall chart, but in games 1 and 2 at home, he was just firing away. He had 5 and 8 shots on goal. Um, a lot of attempts, obviously, and he had 2 shots the last 2 games. But as you brought up, McCarr won't be playing, so I like that. I like him to get maybe some of that opportunity you saw in the first 2 games again. And like I said, he fell shot short the last 2 games. So just give me a little bit more volume, and I think that he could find that third one.
Yeah, I loved seeing that 5 and 8 at home. When I did my first pass last night, I was very focused on location performance in these series, so that obviously popped up. And yeah, McCarr's out. It's different than I mean, Byram and McCarr were skating together, which is why I opted for him over Tays. Uh, Now it's Byram and Gerard, so I have to imagine Byram maybe getting the green light tonight to let some rip um, with McCarr out. So yeah, I love that price. I took his point also, which was minus 116 on Caesars. Um, I did bet his point last game to failure, but he had an assist in he has an assist in the first 3 games. So Tays is stepping up to power play 1, so maybe his point or power play point or assist looks good also. But I like Byron point just to sort of correlate with the amount of shots I'm expecting.
Yeah, Hayes. I mean, well, I guess he isn't usually in that spot. I guess for power play, he doesn't have very many power play points at all. I think even I would have to double check on when McCarr was out last time and how things went, but I probably, I think it would be safer to use point or assist over power play. Watch now he's thinking he's gonna shoot a power play goal or something, but he's just been more consistent with the assists and on even strength. So I know there's the opportunity there, but I like him for an assist. I think it looks pretty solid.
I think what else? I thought Kempfer 2+ shots. That's hit every series if you're just looking volume's not incredible, but I wrote that down last night too. I don't think I'm going to end up playing it, but 2-3-3-2, and he's hitting five straight against Seattle. Another candidate to maybe step up with just such a gaping hole on offense here for Colorado.
Oh, so you're talking about Tay shots?
Kempfer, sorry.
Oh, that yeah, so I missed what you're talking about. I still thought we were on Tays. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty solid. Um, I was liking Tay's volume for a bit, kind of dipped off. Maybe he gets a bit more. Now it looks like they bumped his shot line up to 2.5, so they're expecting, yeah, they're thinking maybe he gets another shot off here. Could be an interesting look as well. Just seeing that he hit in a couple games this series and had some nice volume in those games, so that could be a look as well. There's definitely going to be a couple shots going around with McCarr out. But I liked the same thing as you. Just seeing that the home games from Byram, um, just I imagine that's what we're gonna see more of with McCarr out.
Speaking of shots up for grabs, on the Seattle end, Jared McCann was forced out early in last game, and he's out tonight. It's part of the that's why McCarr's suspended. Um, Jaden Schwartz is a guy we both like. Uh, he'd hit in games 2 and 3 with 3 and 4 shots, and then just casually exploded for 11 shots on goal and 16 attempts last game. Uh, so yeah, we grabbed his shots on goal at -110. Just, I mean, just a ridiculous game. No McCann again, and I
I
mean,
think
like,
Barstool put up the line a little bit after you locked it in because they
shit.
put up plus 100,
God damn it.
which I thanks shout out to Pickett when that popped. I was refreshing on Pickett and saw that pop up on Barstool at plus 100. But I think minus 110 is still fine. I was looking at it there. Um, I think the opportunity, like you said, McCann being out, McCann was just awesome for shots for a good stretch. So that's going to be extra volume. And I know even when the game started, I was looking at the game log, just seeing when his shots were coming, and he was shooting right out the gates in that game. Even when McCann was out, they were both shooting. I think Shorts had some power play shots in there. So yeah, I mean he was looking good at the start, and it only makes you feel better that there's more volume going around now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get crazy, 4 shots is plus 220, five is plus 500. I think he takes on that burden again. Uh, he had 2 goals in game 3, plus 270 to score. I mean, the Kraken have been involved in all these games. They've been feisty. They're getting a couple goals every game. If you're going to take a flyer on somebody to score, I don't think it's got to be Jaden Schwartz. I took his point also at -106 on Caesars was best priced, -110 DraftKings. He's got 8 points in his last 6 against Colorado, 4 in this series. So that price also just seemed tough to pass up. So I didn't.
Good reasoning.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna keep bringing up Adam here. He's pointing this one out too, which is worth noting. If you look at Donato, he got the bump. He like the bump up when McCann went down, and
Mm-hmm.
um, shot production went up. There's not a line for him that I could find, but I think it's worth just flagging because some people might have a book out there that might have something. But I mean, his time on ice, he wasn't really getting much at all, and it shot up to 16 minutes. So if there's something out there, and you like looking for a guy who's getting that's double his minutes from what he had in the first few games. So that's a maybe there's some way you can jump on that and take advantage. Maybe there's some line out there that isn't adjusted or something.
Well, I
But
mean, So have they had lines out this morning? I'm checking. Man, if he's plus 650 to score.
I mean, he's not getting very many points or anything, but like I said, he wasn't getting much opportunity.
No, I mean he's rolled up 10 minutes
Yeah,
from his other games.
yeah. So the shots definitely came. I mean, you see, he had 5 shots on 7 attempts, and you know, when he had a 5 shot game in there uh before the playoffs when he had 11 minutes, and then so maybe some opportunity can lead his way for something. Uh, Definitely was shooting though.
Wow. I mean, I'm just trying to see, look at like some of his advanced stats from last game. Get any expected goals off that volume, or if they were just horrible looks. Second on the team in expected goals last game. Did not score. I mean, plus 650 is crazy.
I mean, look back to this is getting kind of. I just remember even last season
Oh
there
wait,
was a few
I was
games
looking
where we
at the
bet
wrong
on
thing.
what's up.
I was looking at sorry, I was on natural stat trick. I was looking at the wrong thing. Still
Oh,
second on the team in expected goals. Don't worry. Jaden Schwartz, 1.73 expected goals last game. Didn't score once.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to call back to a little bit last season. There was a stretch where Donato was a name we talked about when he had some opportunity and for shots. And if you have props.cash and you can look back at last season, there's more green there for his shots. Especially if you drop him down to 2 shots, or even if you're looking at 3. If you go back to last season, there was games where he had more consistent attempt volume and he was doing it right. So put him on your radar if you can. Maybe some line pops up later in the day or something, but yeah, he was a name that cashed a couple shot tickets last season at plus money just because he was getting the chance to fire away when he didn't normally. So it's a good look, good thing to keep an eye on.
How about a little um, parlay? $5 to win 708. Schwartz, but Byram and Donato all to score. Seems pretty safe.
I mean, you should just skip getting a cup of coffee or something from somewhere and throw it on this instead.
I'd love
They're
to.
gonna get chances.
Can you round robin this? I'm not seeing an option. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna just consider that one a little bit later. I like the Donato look. I'd like some confirmation that he's on the top line. I'm not seeing anything yet.
Yeah, I think that's just how it shook out in the game. Um, After McCann went out, so it'll depend what they decide to roll with. If they keep it the same, or yeah, I don't know. If I played Schwartz and I played his shots, I don't know if he's gonna get bumped up or anything like that. But yeah, I think there's a couple looks today that you want to keep in your mind and maybe just wait to see those lineup confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, if that Kraken should be hitting the ice at some point. Gets I'm not finding anything on Twitter. I
He
like that
Adam
though.
says he's looking at daily faceoff, and I know daily faceoff is good, and then there's also left wing lock, which are two good ones. I think probably the daily faceoff might just be looking at how the game ended with the lines, and left wing lock might be just waiting for a confirmation of uh today's skate. I think that's oftentimes why you see some discrepancies between those two sources, but yeah, just keep an eye on them.
Yeah. Uh okay. Yeah, I like that. Both should be good games though. Expect Boston, Colorado to win. Um, but I don't know. I think the Kraken can give them another game here. Just just completely turning face on how I thought this series would go. Do you want to just briefly talk about tomorrow a little bit? Have you started looking at those games at all or noticed anything from their previous games that you were wanting to keep an eye on for tomorrow?
Um,
I know you're going to the Devils game tomorrow, which will be very electric. So I would hope you cook up something to cover those tickets.
yeah, I'm going to that, so I'm a little distracted. Just thinking about that. It's gonna be a good time. I'm glad, really glad to see that going back there, all even in the series. Just feel like the environment's gonna be, a little bit just more fun, and it's just gonna be a great time. I'm hoping. Uh, actually, I don't even really know what to expect because what the first two games, Rangers were just so dominant, and that was in New Jersey, and then it flip flopped, back to the away ice. The Devils came alive a bit. So back in New Jersey, are they gonna be riding on that momentum, or is there just something in this series like the road team just is they like stepping up in the opponent's stadium, causing a ruckus or something? I don't know, but uh, I'm hoping that I'm gonna be at this game and I'm gonna see a bounce back from some of these guys who we were looking at for shots because the Devils just haven't been getting enough shots off in these games. Hughes has looked good. Um, I was bummed to see Timo lose that shot for us last game, but I think I don't know if I'll make any official plays, but I'll be betting on the Devils a little bit, just as a homer,
I felt so good about my Mika Timo combo the other day, and they both failed me. So I'm sure that'll hit tomorrow. Maybe I'll give it another chance. But yeah, props wise, this series has whacked me in the face. I'll probably sit it out props wise. I mean, I almost want to bet Rangers just for value because the road team keeps winning and they're plus 100 to win. But it's a crazy series. Devils to get blown out those first two games and then take them both in New York, and now they get to come home. That's quite a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. The I probably should just bet the Lightning Maple Leafs over today. 6.5 minus 115. It's hitting every game this series, and 14 of the last 17 times these teams have met. It's been treating me well the last couple of games, so I should probably just keep betting that.
Did Nylander score last game? So I'm drawing a blank. It was
No,
Matthews, right?
yeah, no, Nylander did not score.
I might just go. I don't know. I might go back to him. Couple. Yeah, I went to his shots again. That was one of the guys I thought just the other day. Just Nylander ended on three. Timo ended on three. Um, Pionk ended on two. Connor ended on three. That was
Fucking
just
Pionk.
that was a lot of heartbreak there. But
Uh-huh. It was.
I don't know. That's kind of how it's been. And for me, I feel like every time I have like a heartbreak loss like that, and then I let it weigh on me next game, if I don't pull the trigger on that guy again, 100% of the time, he has a great game and goes over. So yeah, I'd probably be looking maybe at Nylander if the odds are appropriate, shots or goal or something like that. I just feel like he came too
I
close
mean,
last game.
he definitely scored in both those home games to start the series. Um, and I mentioned it before. I really am not even framing this as trying to make fun of Toronto fans. There's just no way for a second the Maple Leafs are thinking we got this thing in the bag. Um, I expect them to keep coming out firing at home, try to win a first round series for once. I know they'd love to do that at home, so that's going to be a fun game. Uh, it's a hell of a comeback last game. Does make me lean Toronto here, finally getting over the hump. Should be a fun game.
Hmm.
Uh, Winnipeg was a tough one. Backed them. I mean, Morrissey's out. Ehlers hasn't played yet. Shifley was knocked out of the last game. He might not play tomorrow. At a certain point, it just becomes a little too much. Vegas has won three straight, so
I'm just thinking about that last game. It's just making me so mad because I just said how the two guys I bet went under by a shot, but if you watched the show, you saw me talk about Eichel. You saw me talking about how he
Yeah,
had
it went
not been
off.
doing anything with like his shots for a bit, and it looked like the regression or the positive regression was coming. Uh,
Came immediately.
that happened. Stone went over his shots, which I was on the game prior. So that was a real brutal game for me to lose to see both my plays missed by a shot and then those two guys who just go over. So that's exactly what I'm talking about is um you can't just cast the guy aside because he let you down. You can't expect every you can't expect them to win every bet every single night. And the hit rates say that we really should be trusting more of these bounce backs for these guys. So yeah, I'm gonna be thinking about that a lot.
I'll probably give Kyle Connor another chance. Riley Smith just keeps hitting his shots also. Yeah, that was. I'll probably go back to Pionk Point tomorrow for sure. Maybe not his shots. He cashed his point immediately. So if that comes in reasonably, but I don't know. I have a hard time buying Winnipeg winning this one, especially if Healers and Shifley still are not in. If they both are in tomorrow, maybe that changes some things. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, that was
I wonder
I
what. Sorry, I was just gonna say I wonder what price we can get on some of these Vegas guys, just knowing this they can end it right here. Like I said, Eichel, I know was better on the road or whatever, his trends and stuff like that. But if he's a good price with the chance to put it away, there's always been all this talk about him. And I think there's like it's a chance for him to just add on to like just silencing some people a little bit. So he's definitely come alive, and I'll be looking at him depending on what his line is, even at home.
definitely. Um, all right, so yeah, got a couple games left. Month we'll have to play it by ear a little bit. I'm just looking ahead at the hockey schedule. Um, if there's a game 7 in Tampa, Toronto, Rangers, New Jersey, and LA, Edmonton. Oh, and Winnipeg, Vegas. All those game sevens would be this coming Monday if any of them get to that point. Uh, could be a hell of a show. Could have no games to talk about. I
Yeah,
guess we're gonna have to just play that by ear a little bit. Let's go. Let's try and backtrack and recap some of the bets for tonight that we're liking the most. Um, you want to start?
yeah. I guess we'll save the one play for the Pickett play, so I won't talk about him. Um, Again, just gonna make sure the lines are solidified. But if everything is looking how it is in the warm ups or whatever, I'm probably gonna pull the trigger on half a unit on Bertuzzi power play point. Guy's been super involved. And as it's looking, top power play with Pasta, Marchand, Bergeron, um, and who was it? McAvoy is the other one in there, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been a little bit quiet, but it's fine. It's just a solid group there. He's come through. He had one in 3 or 4 games. So uh, Bergeron back in the mix. I like that. He's got great playoff, you know, experience. So I'll be looking at him for his power play point.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like it in a similar way, but I'm just betting Bergeron point. Maybe we can cash it on the same play if you want to. That could be kind of fun.
I
Um,
might end up just joining you on that one too. I just don't see the price just is too good for
too good.
too good for him, especially just like pasta with them and like I said, Bertuzzi is you can't just talk about the Bruins and forget the new face there. He's been so good. So if he's on that line, that's just solid look.
Definitely. I like Marchand to keep it rolling. Did his shots with McKinnon. I like him to score again. Guy's been awesome. Uh, and I'm liking Bo Byram to step up without Kale McCarr tonight in a huge game for Colorado. His shots at plus 130. I think it's still plus 126 on FanDuel. That's a real nice price. His point on Caesars was minus 116. Another nice price. Uh, yeah, and I mean, I don't hate Jaden Schwartz keeping it rolling too. That volume last game was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking as well. Just I think that's been a solid way of approaching things is trying to capitalize on one of those guys who see an explosion in their volume, minutes up or a line bump, just something like that. I think it's been looking pretty good for us. So Schwartz fits that bill. You can't argue 11 shots on goal last game. He was clearly clearly got the green light to shoot there. So like him again here tonight. And then yeah, I think we could go on to the picket play. Um we talked about him a bit. Uh he's in the lineup. This one is a full go. Bergeron shots on goal. It was at minus 135, which I'm totally fine playing, especially in the playoffs, just knowing he's got that experience. He hit this every game last playoffs, and not just this, he hit his 3.5 shot line. Uh, 73% hit rate at home for over 2.5 shots, and 5 of his last 7 versus Florida. And you know that there's going to be those power play chances, and he should be top power play. So looks really solid.
Yeah, I like him coming out healthy and fresh and feeding off that environment and carry over the last couple of years of postseason success he's had. He's
Mhm.
been awesome and put this series away. And that price, yeah, it's weird to get excited about a minus 135 price, but that just similar to his point, it just seems too good um, for missing a couple of games. I think we're getting a little discount here. So yeah, I'm all for Bergeron coming out firing tonight.
Nope.
Love the look. Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining. Uh, enjoy tonight. We tried to talk a little bit about tomorrow also. Uh, yeah, let's keep enjoying these games. They've been all awesome for the most part. So yeah, good luck tonight.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys.